oh shit, like that's anyway. It's something that reminded me of what you said.
What'd you say, Renter?
Lack of community. Yeah, I gotta change my name.
Bones.
The Renter. It's fucked up because we took out
the one other thing that I think that this is something that like I'm going back and forth in my head about, but it's about long-term generational opportunity to build wealth. When you think about most people, you know, their biggest asset is actually their homes, right? So when you have when you're forcing people to constantly just be in the rental market and not give them a shot at owning a home, what ends up happening is 20 years, 30 years of working, and they don't own anything that's equitized. And then literally, you know, there's nothing to pass on to the kids.
That's a financial education problem. And I'm not talking about Jeremy. It's a financial education problem because in schools, we don't teach anything. We don't teach about property ownership. We don't teach about investing in the S&P. And me and Carlos on our channel talk about this all the time, that if that was solved, if people actually cared about solving this financial education problem and wealth, which they're not, okay? Rich people don't want poor people to be rich. That doesn't make any sense, right? We need a working class. So that's the problem. It's not this thing that you're saying, Chris.
Yeah. So what you're saying is,
well, do you agree on that or not?
No, I agree that I think the system is rigged so that you have an eternal slave class that are there just to take care of everything else. Like you can't have a situation where everyone is independently wealthy and they have everything that they're ducks in a row. Like that is the model of capitalism doesn't allow.
You could. Is that to say that you don't have? It's just you could have people that still do the work, but they can get a living wage. Like in the in the 50s and 60s, one person working one job 40 hours a week was still able to have a home and 2 cars, and the wife stayed home. And it's like you said, and be able to build community. I mean, just imagine if like when you were born, you got 10 shares of the S&P that you had to hold for 18 years. And on your 18th birthday, it became a thing. You know what I'm saying? Or like, even now when they talk about like things like reparations, imagine that every kid born right now just gets whatever dollar amount of the S&P. It would force you to be focused on the American economy, and it would force you to understand investing.
That's
and
not
also
enough.
educating people in school.
You need it in school because like they'll teach you trigonometry and calculus, but I never had a balance your checkbook day. You know,
but it's more than I had that. They have home ec classes, but it's more than that.
I baked a cake in home ec. I don't know what you did. I remember in Brooklyn we were baking some cakes and cookies.
Let me ask you this question: do you think people?
Your mic is weird, Amit.
Sorry. Do you think people can become financially independent if they're not naturally entrepreneurial? What I mean by that is like, yes, they can have shares of the S&P, when they're 5-6 years old, if their parents set that up. Yes, they can learn about taxes. But do you think it takes a little bit of an inner drive that we know 99% of people don't have to be able to
define financially independent?
I guess like not have to work a 9 to 5. Is that the definition of financial independence?
That's what I'm asking. Like your
I think I'm looking for financial literacy, not financial independence. That's something that comes later. After you have
Chris is talking
literacy.
about owning a home, right? And having equity and all that stuff.
That's
and
financial literacy. First.
Okay, so you don't think that's like entrepreneurial hustle. You think that's just financial literacy.
No, it's financial literacy.
So I unfortunately, this is where it's going to sound a little bit weird, but I think communities, depending on which community you belong to, these are things that you learn within your community. So as an example, like Indian people, right? Indian people, we always strive for, make sure you get a higher education, make sure you're always saving. You need to first take care of X, Y, and Z before you spend money on this, right? So if you come from a community that specifically gears towards teaching this, I know the Jewish community is like that, where the Jewish community actively engages their young people and saying, look, you need to understand how the world works and how the economy works, so that this way you can prosper, right? So I think at the community level, if you're part of a community that basically teaches you things internally, you have a higher chance of success than something if you were born into just a family household that's not part of any singular community that teaches you these things. So I think those are the big disconnects, But who knows?
The reason I'm asking that question is because I feel like there is sometimes a greater correlation between people who want to be entrepreneurial to learn about the stock market. Like if you look at me and my sister, right? My sister doesn't give a shit about the stock market. And like, it doesn't have to do with having a job, but it's more so about the fact, have you ever tried to create anything on your own? And like, she's never really done that because that's not her personality. Whereas I have failed a bunch of times, but that's what led me to stocks, real estate, trying to understand this stuff. So, and that's a mentality I think can be taught. But in some respects, it also like you either want to do more and think for yourself, or you follow the sheep. And most people follow the sheep, right? They follow the crowd. They go to college, they get an internship, get a job, and they never really think about how can they build wealth.
But most people, I'd say almost everyone, I could just say this with confidence, almost everyone has that in them, because whether it's stocks or sports teams, or if you're a chick and it's say it's stars or celebrities, everyone follows something in their life with great detail that they're interested in, right? It's just a matter of focusing that onto companies.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Even if you're a girl, right? Like, girls are really focused on certain things. Most of the time it's related around people and not things. Like, men in general are like interested in things, and women in general interested in people. But it's not to say you can't tweak that, or that a female can have that tweaked and be able to apply some of that too. So I think everyone's got that in them. It's part of what makes you a human being. We are naturally going to be interested in certain things. It's just a matter of showing someone the benefit of something, because instead of following your favorite celebrities, like, that doesn't make you any money. This is my whole thing against, like not against, but like my thing with sports teams, people that do like a ton of following sports teams and fantasy football. It's great. But if just take 10-15% of that energy and put some of that into stocks, it's going to make you, it's going to help you. Otherwise, what are you doing?
I'll go further than you. Following sports is a waste of your fucking time. It's a nice little passion, but if you're obsessed with a sport that has no impact on you other than the fact that you're from New York and you want to see the Knicks win, it's like, bro.
Or video games, you see that.
Those players are making hundreds of millions of dollars. You have no impact on your life unless you're covering the sport. You're doing a podcast. You're making media off the sport.
Well, once again, it goes back to
put that energy somewhere else as well.
In school, we go to sports teams. They have sports teams. We go to gym, and we will not have a financial literacy class on the stock market, real estate. They won't do that. They just won't, because this is all gamified to keep people poor. That's what
I agree.
But the thing is, you could make the other argument. You could make the other argument that you've already learned how to be invested and interested in things for the long term by being in a school. You learn the sense of community.
No, I had to do that by myself, and it was
you know what taught me that? I swear on the YouTube algorithm is what pushed me into stocks. If Meet Kevin videos were not popping up in 2019,
he went to the school of YouTube.
I mean, no, I'm serious, bro.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I would say,
by the way, shout out to that algorithm, because at 39 minutes and 45 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, without putting counter in the title, we crossed 400.
Oh shit! Oh shit! With that Palantir in the title,
I'll go so far to say, at some point YouTube will have a YouTube university. They'll be just like you're saying, where you can just go and
it's called Khan Academy, by the way. So they already have that. And it was another Indian guy.
No.
By the way, you know what's one of the things
Indian guys, bro?
One of the things.
What'd you say?
I said, what you got against Indian guys?
Nothing. I actually learned from Khan. I love that guy.
One of the things that I think that's really sucks is that the government comes up with all these programs to help people build wealth, right? And to like prepare for retirement and all this other stuff, but they don't tell anyone about it, right? 100%. And it's weird. I fucking hate that. It's like, why create laws that people can't use, but then like you invest nothing in marketing it out? So here's an example. Do you guys know what a 529 is? I'm sure that Vitaly and Carlos.
Yeah, the college plan for kids.
Carlos, do you know what it is? 529.
Oh, it's like like the type of investment, right? That you can save, and it just goes to it just goes for college. Yeah.
Amit, do you know what a 529 is?
No.
Okay. See, a 529 plan, and I'm glad all the viewers here, you have kids. This is where your kids, if they're early enough, what you can do is you can set up a plan, and it's sponsored by the state, where you can take money, put it in there, and it grows over time using the stock market and the stock market returns. None of that money is taxed. Okay. So it's all tax-free return. When your kid turns 18, college, the money is waiting for them that they can use. If they don't want to use for college, their spouse or there are other things that can use it, depending on your state. But these are the kinds of programs that are out there that no one even fucking knows about. And it's sad, because if you were able to maximize and utilize those things, you would basically be able to retire by your 40. Here's an example. I have been working since I was 16 years old, right? But I started working like a corporate job when I was 23 years old. I have always maximized my 401k. Always. Like some people would be like, oh yeah, I saved money in my savings account. So I have all this extra money in my savings account. I'm like, why? Why don't you fucking just put it towards your 401k? They're like, no, but I don't know what's a 401k. And I'm like, how do you not know what a 401k is?
Well, what if it goes down? That's the one that I hear the most. What if it goes down?
Yeah, and that's such a hard thing because these are like that's the opportunity cost.
Well, you
that you're
guys are bringing
missing.
up once again my
Yeah.
point. You're just proving my
Yeah.
point that if a person has never learned this and then you just tell it to them in one conversation, they're not going to understand it. You need to like chip away at like 30 years of them being inundated with that they can't do
Ingrained,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, remember we have specialists who invest for us, right?
Yeah.
Just like doctors. So this is the way they think. We have Wall Street for that. And honestly, that's the way most people believe that they need somebody else to do it for them,
Yeah.
you know?
You know,
I
what
got
the-
into. No, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
okay, the other part of this too is like when Vitaly and I were kids, like my mom and dad, we would look at the newspaper. Like stocks and investing is not, it's very dynamic, and it's not something that translates well to like the flat page, right? Whereas like sports does, right? You can look at the batting averages and you can see whatever it is. So I do wonder what this conversation will be like in 10 years when something like the internet is ubiquitous. Like the news is dynamic now.
Yeah.
Even kids are getting news that's dynamic. Twitter, there's feedback. I wonder what the impact is going to be, because I do think by and large the younger generation is more savvy with these things than say we were when we were kids, not just by design. I'm just saying by design, by effect of the internet. So
I just want to point out Steven, who gave $2. He should be at least acknowledged. I think you should give it back to him because we're not discussing that.
how did
I found it out.
We discussed this yesterday, Stephen.
Found it out I found it out in 2021, like early 2021. That's what I found out.
All right, we've answered it. That's $2. Thank you.
I'm kind of impressed by like one of the viewers that we had yesterday. He was still in college and he's already like investing. He's trying to figure things out. I think the earlier you get started with all of this stuff,
Trade with skill.
Trading with skill. I like that. I like to see the younger generation learn a lot of these things. And I'm sure he's going to lose money along the way. Okay. If you don't lose money along the way, you're not really
doing it wrong.
Okay? You're doing it wrong.
Well, that's what I said. Like as soon as the greed, he's going to learn how greedy he got before he lost it all. You know?
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about SoFi, and SoFi is losing money.
We were savvy. We were savvy.
No, he's
at
up.
that
He's
age.
up 30%. He said on his calls.
37%.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot to get calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So these are the things that I hope like when you have like people.
There you go. He's in the chat. He's in the chat.
Yeah.
Trade
I'm
with
sure
skill.
that everyone here has different, like we have a lot of age groups of people. One of the things that I would highly recommend you do is get your kids also involved in investing with you. Be like, hey, son, this is what an equity is. Hey, son, this is what an index is. So that when you turn a certain age, this is a 401k. If you already know what a 401k is, that's great. But teach your kids what a 401k is so that when they turn 22, they're like, oh, let me go out and spend my money at the club or the bar or whatever. Be like, look, kid, by the time you're 30, you'll regret everything that you did in your 20s. But the one thing you won't regret is that you put money away into your 401k and put it into an index. So by the time you're 35, you got all this pot of money sitting on the side, and you can chill. Like, I'll give you an example. My wife, when I met her, I love her to death, but let me tell you, she had no fucking financial literacy at all. I'm coming into this relationship. I'm coming in. I have no debt.
He's like, oh no.
He's like no financial literacy.
I have.
Did you ever see
financial
that?
literacy?
You guys know what I'm talking about or no?
I had no debt. I had my 401k that I've been contributing for fucking over a decade. I'm super well. She's got like, hey, I'm blah blah blah, and it's like I have this much in student loans. I have this much in savings. And then she had
how much does she have in student loans? How much does she have? Is it a
like
lot?
190k.
Yo, your
has
wife
a
and
good
my
job.
wife.
She has a good job.
I think me and you got some similar stories with our fathers and now our wives. No joke.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, man. You know. But she had a much higher level of education than I did. So just
no, I mean, like, bro, I feel the same because when I met my wife, like, she had no idea what the stock market was.
Yeah, okay, shut up. You know, you got no wife.
Okay,
right
somebody
now.
got it. Dad Hugan said, and I say,
Yo, no, but on some real shit, my mom is so sad.
What? I saved you. Get out of here. All right?
Yo, you gotta be like, I saved you.
Listen, when I met my wife, she was still in residency, right?
These guys don't know what we're talking about, by the way.
I went to go visit her in Jacksonville, right? And I'm thinking, this is like a well-polished girl. She's smart, she's educated, she already did her math, her PharmD. So I go there. She's living in an apartment with a mattress still on the floor. Like I was like, and she was just going ham on the credit cards. I know you were supporting yourself, but you were doing a stupid way. All right.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I took care of you.
Wait, how did you?
I guess she's calling into the podcast tonight, right?
No, we gotta have her on the pod one day, bro. We gotta have her, or at least her voice.
We
like,
should
give her
we
a
should
mic,
do
give
the
her-
we should
We
should do the producer wives.
We'll do the.
Bro, we
producer
gotta
wives.
do a producer wives special. That would be so epic. I'll bring my
Actually,
wife, like,
do
it
you
would be
guys would
so
you guys have
fucking-
the balls to just let them do one episode by themselves? Just literally, we in the chat and they're.
I don't think they're as interested in talking about stocks. So, you know,
No, they need to be with you guys. We have to have a question, and then they just need to like go with the flow. It'll be so fun.
So here, everyone is saying Chris is going to be sleeping on the couch. I work at overnight, guys. I don't have to work.
He's like, I already sleep on the couch.
I bought the damn couch.
Wait, Chris, how did you meet her? Was it Tinder at your time, bars? Like, how did you actually meet her?
It's called Dill Mill. It's like an app that's specifically
Dill
geared
Mill?
towards Indian people. Yeah, it's like a Indian people thing. But then we later on discovered while
Indian
we were
Tinder.
talking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
My joke
yeah.
was that they should call it Tindia.
India. That's not bad.
That's not a
That's
good
not
joke.
bad. I like it.
Whatever, man. You got the worst jokes, Amit.
No, because dill mill is a dill means a heart, and mill means I think meat people. That's why it's like
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.